Do you guys think that one income households are outdated? Do you think that we live in a time still where you can have a household where only one person is making money?
Well, not could, but go
Mm.
ahead, Stormy. What do you think?
I think one income households are trash. I think they're outdated. I don't think we need to have them anymore. Boo, boo, tomato, tomato. Okay, it's done. Okay, first of all, like let's set all the inflation and how it's financially irresponsible aside, right? When you have a one income household, 9 times out of 10, this person is working their ass off to provide for this one income household. So what's going to happen? He's not in the house all the time. So what's going to happen? A woman is going to say, "Oh, I feel like he doesn't treat me like I'm special. He's not addressing my needs." Now what's going to happen? She don't want to have sex. Now what's going to happen? He going to start cheating. Now we have infidelity issues. Now we have an unhappy marriage. This is foolish. It doesn't need to be said. And even all that aside, I don't feel comfortable having to go to my man and say, "Yo, can I have some money for deodorant?"
That's it.
I can't do it. "Yo, can I have some money for tampons?" I can't do it. Like, to be that dependent on someone, like, bro, if you want to be a child all your life, just say that. Like, it's nothing wrong with being taken care of. It's nothing wrong with being well kept. But having your person take care of you, like, just as a one income household is just an ideal that I feel like we don't need anymore.
Yeah, I think it's outdated for the majority. It's not impossible, but
So for me, I think that this is okay. I think that one income
taking care of the house.
should be able to take care of everything. However, I personally do not want to be in a position where I have to ask for money, gas money, deodorant money, toilet paper money. You know what I
Crazy.
mean? Like, can you pay my copay on my teeth cleaning tomorrow? You know what I mean? Like just dumb shit, you know? And I think for one, it takes away from your independence, your ability to, because I know a bunch of y'all men hate that word, independence. It takes away from your ability to just be a fully functioning adult. You know, and some people are okay with that, and I'm fine with that. That's your decision. Do you, boo? But for me, in my house, I don't ever want to be in a position, you know, with the exception of like if someone's ill or you know, where I can't come and go as I please, and I can't make certain decisions. And I'm not even saying nothing crazy, but like if I want to go and buy a tomahawk steak tonight at the butcher, you know, like I want to be able to just do that without having to ask for money.
Yeah.
You know, there's just a certain level of independence that comes with having your own money.
And then, like, even when you're building and when you're growing, right? Like, I want the big house with the front yard, the backyard, the stainless steel kitchen, the standalone tub. Like, it's easier for me to obtain that when I have my partner,
Right.
without us both figuring out how we going to pay the bills. You know what I mean? So it's like, why not have somebody you can build with, or it's going to make your life easier?
Yeah. You know what I think? I think that one income household has become outdated. The moment women have been, you know, crushing the game in jobs and just all types of the workforce, right? Women have provided actual results on how capable they are. And with that being said, a man to do so for this time and day is not going to work, because when you pay all the bills, it's really a pay to play to speak type of thing.
What do you mean?
Like, you got to pay to speak. Like, if I'm covering all the bills, it's a dictatorship more so than a democracy, no matter what, when push comes to shove.
Absolutely.
He who has the goal.
You know what I'm saying? Makes the rules.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So now with the outspokenness that is now desired from everybody, not just men, but now as men and women, right? A woman wants to come into a home or wants to buy a home and contribute to a home. She's going to want to, you know, showcase how she can also help contribute to this home as well, and as well as keep her independence, keep her actual sanity, because when somebody gets silenced because they are just financially not there, it becomes so hindering and just self-sabotaging that, you know, you never know what type of depression that can lead from that. But it has become outdated, and I think that we get into this weird space where we want old rules, right? With with the new abilities, and it just doesn't work, right? Because it's like, hey, I don't mind paying for everything. But at the same time, if I pay for everything, it's going to be my rules. And you're like, well, hey, I don't mind it. I don't mind me making my own money, but I don't want to pay for everything, but it has to be my rules too. So now you have a conflict with the boundaries that both people are trying to set. So I think that's when it really became outdated because it's been proven that it can't work. At least when we're talking about from a Gen Z and forward standpoint, moving forward standpoint, the old heads already got it. Their life is already, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your shit is already set in stone. Like, it just is what it is. This shit been working for you for 4 decades and ain't nobody changing it. But if you 25, 22, 30 even, shit might be a little bit different.
But I feel like that's why we get so much of the same conversations on all the podcasts and all the internet shit, because we're living in a time where we're living differently.
It's all changing. We're actually living it.
Yeah.
We're living.
We're literally
the
right
change.
in the middle of it, because some people are out here doing this still, and we're finding new ways to like move in relationships this way, and it's just like, oh well, this is right, or nah, this is right, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
It's a lot because it's happening right now.
Especially because think about it, like your parents lived in a very different time and space than how you're living now.
And how I would live moving forward.
Exactly.
Don't you think it's
Absolutely.
crippling when you hear, like, I don't know, when I hear a girl say, I want the same marriage my parents had, I'm like, them niggas don't exist and you ain't her. So you can't get it, sweetheart. Let's get on with the times and let's figure out what we can do now, because that is no longer here.
It also was super toxic. Like,
Thank you.
if your granddaddy came home and the food wasn't on the table, your grandma was getting knocked upside the head. Like, so I think we should continue
Not literally,
to pay
y'all.
attention.
No,
Literally. Literally.
getting knocked upside.
Your
the
grandma
head.
was getting knocked upside the head and your granddaddy had another family across
you.
town. So we need to be real and say, yes, those marriages lasted longer because your grandmother didn't have a way out. She had no finances. She had no resources. So we don't want their relationship because it's not sustainable in today's world, because we're smart enough to know how toxic it was.
Yeah, and it's all about
Yeah, you're
women's
smart enough.
empowerment now, and we found our independence. So shit is definitely like different.
So this is the thing. So when things are changing, and we all agree on that, right? But some of us, and I would venture to say that it's typically men, are still looking for certain things in women. So your dad and your grandpa and your great grandfather, they were looking for this very rigid standard of a woman, because nothing has really changed for men over the years. You know what I mean? Like men have been in the position of power. They've been able to make the money. They've been able to have certain jobs. They can have checking accounts, credit cards, so on and so forth. For the most part, everything has changed for women. And so that's why I always say, like, I mean, granted, I know y'all don't want to hear it, but like, you have to give women grace. We just got a say in anything. My grandmother, who is still alive today, at one point could not have a checking account, but for my grandfather, who is also still alive today. You know, like my dad's mom, that was her life. And I saw something very different from my mom's mom. She always worked, always kept a job, and I always saw how her marriage was very different. My mom's parents versus my dad's parents. Like, it seemed like my dad's parents, very traditional. You know, I would say my grandma was mad as hell all the time because he had his other baby mama and the other family, but he definitely took care of his family. He definitely took care of his family. Period. I would never take that away from the old school men. Even though they had a second family, their first family took precedence at all time, and they were taken care of. You know, but I feel like she had a different life because she didn't have a voice. You know, whereas because she didn't have money, she left college with my grandfather. You know, so she gave up a lot in order for him to build a certain lifestyle for their family. But then moving forward, it wasn't about their family. It was about the person who had the power in the relationship, you know, and why he had that power. Whereas my mom's mom, if Earl Jobert showed out, she was like, do what you want to do. She stabbed him. She literally stabbed him. I think my grandpa like tried to put his hands on her, and she pretty much
said,
yeah, never again. Literally. No,
Listen.
seriously. So and you know, and I remember my mom told me at one point, my grandmother, there's like a picture of me, like a little kid. I'm like on a couch, like posted up like this, like a little dress on.
I
That's
wanna
where he
see
got
it.
stabbed?
No. I asked my mom
I'm done.
because I didn't notice the area where I took this picture. It wasn't at an auntie's house or it wasn't at my grandparents' house. So I didn't recognize where we were or where I was. And I said, where was this? She was like, oh, that was mama's apartment. I said, apartment? She's like, yeah, you know, they going back and forth. Mama moved out, X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And that just showed me that my grandmother had a certain level of like independence and a certain level of like,
You ain't finna play with me.
exactly, you know.
Which makes, honestly, like women, well, see, women get on these internets and they listen to the corny dudes that be talking about women being independent. A man finds a lot of attraction in a woman's independence when they are self-efficient.
Yep.
Not when their independence becomes self-sufficient. Yeah. Not when the women's independence becomes toxic, combative. That's a whole different type of independence. But when you show that you're self-sufficient, it makes us so much more attracted to you because God forbid if I'm putting this all on the line for you and our family and I die, I know my kids are taken care of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When we fight and you got the ability to walk out and get your own apartment the next day, chill, babe, where you going? Let's work this out.
Baby, no.
Right?
I was just playing.
Like that toxic, like we talk about toxic all the time. The only thing that's toxic is when somebody's 100% dependent on somebody. That's the only thing that's toxic, right? Because when you become 100% dependent, you're just taking all of these different blows that you typically wouldn't
Yep.
take until you know, become a ticking time bomb and explode. And now,
And then you stab him in his sleep.
and then guess what happens? You still help him revive because he is your dependent.
Yep.
And like, you know what I'm
You know
saying?
you're his dependent.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
You're his dependent, exactly.
Mhm.
So now it's a circle, it's a cycle that goes on. But what I was gonna say is I was watching 2 nights ago, Alan Watts. It's one of the people that I watch a lot and listen to a lot.
On a
Just
podcast?
no, he's long gone. I mean,
Oh, okay.
but he was basically talking about. I mean, the video is called Trust the Universe, but at one specific part, he was talking about relinquishing power is the most power in itself, right? Because if you are someone who is that person of power, let's say if you're the guy and you are the breadwinner, and the woman has nothing, right? You can't even relinquish power, and that's the only time you become corrupted, because you don't even have someone to disperse it to. So now, when you don't have someone to disperse the power to, you're dealing with so many problems in every single aspect. Now, if I was able to disperse the power to, my wife or my girlfriend or whomever, and she has the ability and capacity to take care of some said bills or whatnot in this household, now it actually eases me up, and I actually still feel more empowered. The fact that I have the ability to give the power, and it makes her feel empowered as well, because she can now showcase how she can now, contribute to your relationship as well. So
So like a CEO.
yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what he says. He says every single company relinquishes power to somebody underneath. You have a CEO, you have a CO, you have VPs, you have presidents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's exactly a healthy, strong person knows how to relinquish power in the right places with the right people. So then that way they can continue to grow and be what they need to be. But you can never fully be what you're meant to be if you're constantly taking on all of the little stuff as well as the big stuff.